card versus red blue control. We are rocking in the madhouse today, and I'm so glad you guys could be with me because this is a pretty tight matchup in that both these players are still competing for top cut. Dale is hoping to catch that bubble if he wins, and then DKP fam, he's hoping to catch the bubble if Frank loses. So it's an interesting situation for him. But before we talk more about that, I am joined by a very special friend, actually the very first person I casted with ever in my Lorcana career. I got Rudros. What's going on, man? How are you excited? Are you rocking and rolling?
Oh, I'm always happy to see some great Lorcana action, and thank you for having me back. Yeah, it's nice to work with you again. It's fun to team up in this final round of the LCC. I'm excited to see who's going to make top cut. This matchup's always very interesting too because Ruby Sapphire tends to be one of the decks that can quote unquote beat up on Emerald Steel, but we've also seen Emerald Steel, if it hits those right discard lines and they can't find a Flaversham, it can also just run over this deck. So I'm hoping this one will be a good back and forth match.
Oh yeah, it is such an interesting one, and we see this matchup on its own is one that we've seen for a really long time. We saw the red blue do reasonably well against Bucky back in that green steel discard era, and then we saw it do really well against the green steel era of set 4 or last set, and then now we're seeing it do really well. And so it's just going to be one of those matchups that it's a tale as old as time. Do they see that high roll where they can just get rid of things really quickly to prevent red blue to getting to the point where the ramp matters, where they can stop the B prep, stop the Sizus, things like that. So it's going to be a good match, one that I'm of course excited for, and one that there's a lot on the line for both players, and I think it's really interesting for Fam because for him to make top cut, he needs one of his teammates to lose, which has to be like, you don't want to cheer for that, but at the same time, like you're
yeah, if you're competing, you want to get up there. We having an issue?
Yeah, I can hear the players, which is interesting. I think Ellie has some stuff
you can mute
on.
the stream.
For you the same. 2, 3, 1.
I think I need to mute them too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mute stream. There we go. Okay. Stream should be muted on my end.
It is not on my end. Oh,
if you're watching the stream, you just right click it. It should pull up an option to just mute it.
I am not watching the stream though.
Let's see. Okay. I wasn't sure how you were seeing it.
How about that? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. Okay, I fixed it. All right, we are rocking and rolling, and let me go ahead and get these deck lists out of the way because they're already into their mulligans. So, looking at the mulligan, all right, we got that shiny morph. Man, that's such a pretty card. I love that enchanted. But right off the top, we see Dale. He has the big Diablo, 2 big Diablos. What do you think he's really looking for in this matchup? We know we want to see that high roll, but what does the high roll look like for you in this matchup?
I think if you can get Diablo with sudden chill, as we see right there, the more you can hit their hand earlier, I think the better it's going to go for you. Generally, red-blue isn't going to put out a character very early. The most you might get is maybe a Tipo that you can cast Storm on. So since you're not going to have any targets for any removal anyway, you want to see those discard effects. So like Hypnotize, like Sudden Chill. So he doesn't have the baby Diablo. Oh man, he just drew his third big Diablo.
Boy. Oh boy. Wow, that's well. If we look at Fam's hand, no brawl anyways. So there's a world where he kind of just gets these Diablos and his hand size is going to be massive because he can't get Diablo down until turn 3, but he still has, on turn 3 he's going to be able to play Diablo or Morph on turn 2, and then turn 3 he can double play Diablo if he really wanted to. He just needs to draw ink. But that sets him up really well going into that Flaversham turn where Fam's going to be trying to draw off that Flaversham as long as he can see an item.
Which currently he doesn't. I think he does have a brawl right there in the middle. Yeah, so he does have a brawl. Develop your brain to find both a Tamatoa and a Grandma Tala, the 2 Ts. So we went with the Tala, obviously, a little simpler. Don't have a good turn 1 here for Dale. The nice thing is what he can do is put the Morph out on turn 2, and then he can set up not only a Shift Diablo, a natural hard cast Diablo. As we do see the ramp into the Popsicle. which we're going to put out this turn. Oh, man. Sail the Azurite Sea, letting you get that popsicle out the same turn. Now we are set up for that Flaversham. But, oh no, we're not going to be able to shift Diablo yet, so we can't take advantage of that Flaversham card draw. Ooh, and we draw the Muses, another card we can't...
Oh.
We're essentially going to have to go straight into the Inkwell, yeah. So here comes Morph. We have a lot of Enchanteds in this deck.
Yeah, he does. And this is interesting for Fam because Fam can now... he's on 3 ink, so he can just go straight into the Hiram and get the guaranteed draw, or he plays a Popsicle. Okay, and he's probably going to brawl at this point, just brawl the Diablo, I would think. So
he will, but with the shift line now, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to brawl it first, because if he Diablo, or if he, he burns the brawl on the Morph, says, I'm actually not actually interested in your shift line.
Yeah, and I think that's the play. I think you either had to brawl this turn or you had to play Hiram this turn to get the draw before Diablo comes down.
Yeah.
So doing that play, now he can play the Diablo. That's great. You still don't get to draw off of it or anything. And we're not... I think that was a really good move. And because now we can still play the Hiram and we can still draw off that Hiram this turn.
Looks like we are going to ink, I believe that's We Don't Talk About Bruno Enchanted version. Here comes our first Enchanted Diablo, one of many. We won't be able to brawl this, but we can at least safely use Flaversham here to draw 2 cards. Diablo will not benefit.
Oh,
draw
2 brawls. Oh, goodness.
Oh, man, did he stack this deck or what? Now he's ready for the 2 Diablos.
Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. And that has to, oh, boy. Oh, that's rough. And that's
you're probably going to see another Diablo come down this turn, so you can double brawl and still sing or even draw cards off the Popsicle, but you can sing how far I'll go too. Yeah, this is looking very good for Fam so far.
It is. And that's where I was wondering, and I'd be curious to see what Dale think, our popular green steel players, Dale, Zan, Wonderland, of course. Do you ever try and hard mulligan for that hidden cove, because then you're preventing the brawls. You're trying to guarantee that Diablo, things like that. And I don't know. I don't play green steel. It's not my wheelhouse, so I really have no idea what their mulligans look like. So I don't know if you have any experience in that area.
It just depends on the rest of your hand. If you have other good stuff, it's always, well, do I take that risk and give up stuff that I know kind of works to try to high roll, and then what if you miss it? So there goes the first of our Diablos. Now Flaversham can safely use the Popsicle without giving the draw, and likely we're going to ink and put down the Brawl Part 2 and really prevent the card draw from our opponent. Of course, no one expects the third Diablo. Brawl again. Dale probably just thinking, all right, that's 3 Enchanteds in a row you've brawled. Feels bad for me.
Oh, and... It just got to feel, you see those 3 brawls and you're like, well, that's good. There's only 1 left. But at this point, Fam's been able to slow things down so much. And now he's sitting at 6 ink. So he's got that B prep in hand that he certainly doesn't have to play. But, at this point, you have a good idea that your Diablo is pretty safe, except for I hope that Fam doesn't have Medusa, right? Because I'm quickly running out of card draw here.
Well, and it shows how dangerous these blue-red decks are, in that unless they are against something incredibly aggressive, like a 1 cost that quests for 2, like a Daisy, a Maleficent, these decks come online pretty quick. This is not a deck that just sits there for 8 turns before it finally does something. Like, it can already answer and control the board quite earlier than you would expect a deck to be able to. So.
Oh yeah, it's wild. Red blue. It's all of our favorites, right? We keep hoping it disappears, but it does when you can ramp and you have some tempo now with the half shark and you have control. It's just a great concoction of cards there. So
Dale believing in the saying that the third time's the charm. He puts down his third Diablo here. I don't think he has inked this turn, so we could ink and you could hard cast a sudden chill. You're not getting a ton, like it's not like you have a Prince John to get card draw value off of it, but you're at least hitting his hand. He doesn't have an item out currently. It's not amazing, or you could just be patient and hold on to it. Decides to be patient. Doesn't even ink actually. Just says, I need to see if this Diablo lives, which so far it will, unless we can find the 4th brawl off of this.
And his next turn is looking pretty nice for Dale because those sudden chills, they cost 2 or 3.
2, I believe.
2. So he can go ahead and do both of those, and then hypnotizes the song. Man, my
Correct.
knowledge of Green
It's an
Steel is
action.
awful. It's an action.
No,
Okay.
it's hypnotizes an action. Yeah, discard a card, draw a card. If he drew a Prince John, he could do the John. He could sing the sudden chill. I think he would even have enough to play another sudden chill. That would be a pretty good swing. He would need to grab the John right here, right now. As red blue's just going to take a little more time. Just keep setting up, digging a little deeper. Looks like that might be a Sisu. No, we grabbed Develop Your Brain. I couldn't tell what that other card was. We can still ramp this turn too with Sail if we want. Nope, we're going to develop again.
Just look for those answers.
My goodness, it just digs and digs and digs and digs and digs.
And then, the fun thing about this, and there was a Steel Song player that was talking about this for a little while, is he really liked to run Be Our Guest and Aerials because halfway through the game he would know what the bottom of his deck looks like because of Aerial, because of Be Our Guest. And red blue gets to do that same idea here, but even better because they're digging with Visions and Develop Your Brain and Grandma Tala, and they're figuring out, all right, I know what I'm drawing in. Like statistically, I should see what I have because I know the bottom 20 cards of my deck. So,
yeah. There's so much way to just kind of scry and look through your deck. And a card like Sail the Azurite Sea is so strong that, compared to something like One Jump Ahead was a terrible card to draw later in the game. You really only wanted to see it early. But Sail at its worst just says, hey, draw a card. We do get the Ursula double singer on Dale's side, and there isn't actually removal outside of a B prep on Fam's side currently. Not that Dale knows that. So if you could get this Ursula to stick around, double discard is going to feel very good. He honestly may just need to go into it for lack of better options. You could also try Hypnotize, see what you draw for that, but still not an amazing hand.
He certainly has some lines.
If he had inked last turn, he'd be on 5. He could go to 6, and then he would be able to go Pete. Ursula Pete.
Yeah, and that would be huge. Like that would be so big. But if only we could go back in time, right? The things we could load.
And he's kind of behind anyway. Maybe there's a world where you just jam the Ursula out and say, okay, you've already burned 3 brawls. Basically, you're gonna have to find Sisu or Medusa at this. Just try it. Like you're kind of already behind. Also, what else? Just putting Pete out alone is like, that's not gonna stop a Medusa. So I would imagine the play is either Ursula or you just hypnotize outright and see what you draw. Nope, we're gonna go for the Pete.
All right.
Try to protect this Diablo, maybe get an additional card draw. Do we want to sing one of these sudden chills? Doesn't feel nearly as good when your opponent has 5 cards in hand.
But the nice thing about this is, it guarantees the Diablo lives, so it lets him dig a little bit deeper himself, where he's drawing on Dale, or not Dale, but Fam's next turn. So, and maybe that's just what he's trying to do at this point. Instead of worrying about, because even if he had played 2 sudden chills, Fam has 5 cards in hand. So what good does it really do you to remove 2 of them?
Yeah, especially if obviously if he finds a popsicle, then he's just going to reload anyway.
Exactly. And when Fam's already at 8 ink, like it's an interesting goes ahead and does the sudden chill. So, and that doesn't even feel bad for Fam because he knows that him needing the hideaway at this point doesn't really mean much. So
yeah, even if a Hidden Cove came out at this point, you can probably find a Maui or something else to just challenge it outright. So
exactly.
And we just passed there. We're still not inking. We're holding on to 4. Diablo will finally get a draw. And ironically, we draw into the Hidden Cove.
A few turns too late, unfortunately. Imagine having that as Fam is drawing 3 brawls or I guess 2 of them. He had 1 of them.
The nice thing is we don't have any outright threats in Fam's hand. He doesn't really want to be prepared this board. He couldn't anyway because of the Pete. And actually, he just outright passes.
Yeah,
because there's nothing worth doing here.
Yeah, he can't draw or anything. Now, I wonder, because Visions...
Oh, yeah, he had an unplayable hand because of the Pete, didn't he? Literally, the only thing he could have done was play Flaversham.
Oh, my goodness.
I looked closely at his hand. I didn't realize he had nothing but actions other than the other Flaversham, so...
God, what a position to be in, though, where you can legitimately just pass your entire turn. Like, do absolutely nothing and feel good about that. That's crazy.
Of course.
So,
You are
Only
the
red
late
blue.
game control deck, right? Yeah. The longer this goes, the more it's going to favor you. It's up to your opponent to win before you do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. This is when you play against red blue. You're there is a clock. 100%. So
Dale does have the Cove now. It's not going to prevent anything like a Medusa coming down. It could keep a Pete alive through that. It won't necessarily protect the Diablo. We are just going to go for the hard cast of the Hypnotize. Probably try to see what we get off of it.
mm-hmm. Imagine it's the Prince John.
That's going to feel bad. We
Yeah,
won't be
it
able
would.
to play it this turn.
Oh, Muses.
It is the Muses.
It's not really what you want to see either, which is unfortunate. It doesn't
We
do
give
a
up a
whole lot
sail.
for this matchup.
Yeah, I would like to see Dale ink to 5. I think it is going to catch up to him eventually. You could ink. You could put out the Cove. You could move the Diablo to the Cove in case your opponent draws that last brawl. Now they have to use a Medusa on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could put the Pete there if you just really wanted a 4/4. And yeah, we do the double quest.
Quest for
Pete
3.
will trade
Go
favorably
2-3.
with the Tala. And we'll get to draw off our opponent's draw. If you remember. Oh, don't forget to draw, Dale. There he goes. Or, yes. Okay. I was
He's
like,
got- another
don't skip
Cove.
that. And another Cove, the card we would have loved to have seen early. We
Mhm.
did get an item on Fam's side. Probably not looking to rush with that Vitalis Sphere, but you can just break it instantly. Oh, no, we're actually just going to be prepared.
Just be
Okay.
done with it. Yep. So
Says, nope, I just want one less Diablo to worry about. Now I'll put out the Vitalis Sphere. So my next Flaversham, which I already have in hand, is good.
is that another Ursula? It is.
It is.
Well,
they just burned B prep. They've got 3 brawls down. You can move her to the Cove, so
and she's
now
pretty
only
safe.
the Medusa is going to get her.
Mhm.
She's about as safe as she's going to be. And actually, our opponent, if they Flaversham this turn, they can't Medusa anyway. They won't have enough ink to do all that.
Yep.
So yeah, looks like we do put out Ursula, put her to the Cove. Ooh, but we could go in on Maleficent Dragon. No amount of willpower is going to protect you from that.
Oh, jeez, the dragon. Every time I feel safe playing against red blue, they quickly remind me about the Maleficent Dragon.
I mean, you could just Dragon here, right? You remove the potential double sing
Yep.
threat and all those enchanteds in the
Oh,
discard. Goodness.
And I really think that's a pretty good play. Just get rid of the Ursula because there's nothing. Then you quest for, goes ahead and
That's
does
what we
it.
go for.
Because now you start
A dragon
representing a
is-
threat yourself. And he can
Absolutely.
take out
You
the
could even-
Cove.
If he wants to, yeah.
Yeah.
Cove is no lore threat, so you could potentially leave it there. Still nothing amazing on Dale's side. You could try to go in on a second Ursula. Just or Muses. Muses is a little more protected. It would fall to a big Sisu banish, but at least it won't be able to be taken out by anything that's targeted. Of course, this dragon has way too much strength to be
Mhm.
able to be bounced with the Muses. Not that I think you want to give your opponent a chance to replay a dragon anyway, but yeah, Dale's in a pickle here, and he kind of has been since the beginning. Just wasn't a
Yeah.
very good start, and going second.
Meanwhile,
No Prince John to-
Fam's looking so pretty with that visions to dig for an item, and then you play the Flaversham to draw. Like, he's looking so
Mhm.
good right now. Man.
Well, there is a world here. You just cast double sudden chill, put your opponent on no cards in hand.
and that
Yeah, now
would
he doesn't know what he has, but yeah, like you just pointed out, he
Mhm.
has really good ways to get back into it. You would cut him off if you just get rid of 2 ways for him to dig deeper into the deck.
Yeah, and if he does it, this would be probably his only turn because the odds of Vision pulling an item are, he would have to because next turn,
He has to.
yeah,
Flaversham's going to refill his hand.
with
So
the Vitalis Sphere. Yep. So, what does Dale decide to do? What lines is he thinking?
because if you think about it too, like let's say you try to go on the Ursula again, you're essentially going to get the same thing, right? You'll get 2 cards out, but it'll be a turn later
Mhm.
when he could have potentially refilled. Whereas right now, you guarantee that you lock it out. Looks like
Mhm.
we are going to go in on the Ursula. You could sing 1 sudden chill if you wanted, or cast it, I should say. But looks like we're just going to move Ursula to the Cove and hope that we don't have another removal. I think you're okay if your
Yeah.
opponent B preps their own dragon, but
you'd be happy, but you just never like to see it sitting in their hand.
yeah.
It's always a bad feeling when and he goes and does it. He's
Wow,
like, I
he really
I
doesn't-
don't even want to deal with it. So
Goes ahead and sings. Flaversham will now refill the hand as we get that big Sisu as well as, is that Mufasa?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
So Mufasa will quickly take over this game once he comes down.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that Dale only runs 2 Brunos, so there's just no way he ever removes that Mufasa. Unless he draws the... Oh, look at that. Mufasa, the Tamatoa, the big Sisu. That's
3 characters of cost 8.
Mm-hmm.
And Dale is on 3 lore. We get strength, so you could bounce the Flaversham here. Not that that does a whole lot for you, but you play them if you wanted to. Hopefully he moves the muses to the cove, because without that, the Sisu will just banish it. Yep, we pass back. Here comes Tamatoa. Get back a Popsicle. And now with Tamatoa Flaversham online, this is starting to look pretty over.
Oh, look at what a beautiful hand for Fam. There's all those cards.
My goodness.
Right? Man.
Muses cannot bounce this Tamatoa. Only thing he can really interact with is Flaversham. Finally, Prince John shows up, but he's a bit too late. Spent far too much time taxing the people of Lorcana.
Man, oh man. Oh, it's and that's one of those wonderful. You gotta love Visions and what it does for any deck that runs it. Knowing that even if you see 5 bad cards off of Vision, you're like, well, that's 5 bad cards out of the way, and it just feels so good. Dale, at
it's
this
fun
point,
for the person using it.
Oh, 100%. And then meanwhile, Dale is I'd imagine he's starting to see the writing on the wall with, knowing Fam has 6 cards in hand, discards out of the way, but play to your ounce, and that's Prince John. But even then, Big Sisu can come down next turn, take out the Prince John, remove that that draw power that you have.
Well, and look at the difference in 2 turns. So now he has 6 cards in hand. So even if you double Sudden Chill, he's going to go down to 4. Whereas 2 turns ago, you had him at 2. If you'd have dumped his hand that turn, your opponent legit would have sang "Be prepared for turn" and pass with no cards in hand. Like, man, what a difference that would have made. Now, again, not that I know he doesn't know what he has in hand, but
yeah, it's a great power.
Caster's privilege. We get to see it.
Yeah, I know. It's a great power getting to see both players. We can be the greatest players. But then, when it feels really bad is when we see both their hands and we're like, oh, yeah, this is, and then we're 100% wrong. And it's like, that feels pretty bad.
We will ink our second cove. Going to try the 3rd time for this double Ursula. Can this card survive a turn? It's not at the cove, so the answer is no, because Sisu's just going to come clean it down. Yep. And that's going to wipe everything. That's just map.
The
you
writing
didn't know the
is
Sisu's
on the
text
wall.
actually says when you play this character, your opponent concedes.
Yeah. And that was Fam's only 2. As I pull up the deck list, Fam only is running 2 big Sisus right now. So he managed to see both of them eventually. So yeah, that triple brawl early on was really a big
it was
nail
insane.
in the coffin. Oh yeah.
You're thinking, well, what? At least I can play out, all 3 Diablos. Surely they can't deal with all that. Nope, he drew into double brawl off the Flaversham. So,
and I know
that's
I'd
pretty
be
darn good.
Oh yeah, it's like I'd be thinking the same exact thing. Be like, oh, I'm feeling really good. No matter what they do, I have a Diablo that's living. Little do you know.
It just shows how powerful and important the kind of cracked like nut hands of Lorcana are. That if you can see those exact cards you want in that right order, there's very little your opponents can often do to stop you.
All right, I wonder. So one of the big differences here between Dale and another green steel list that we saw make top 16 at the EU is they were running a Calhoun in place of the Doc, the Wonderland special, I like to say, because
interesting.
And I really like that that Calhoun for that one of, just because it gives you that little bit of early pressure in the sense of maybe they're a little bit afraid to quest now. They can't just empty quest their 1-drops or their other stuff. So the Calhoun, it's an uninkable for an uninkable, but it gives you a little bit of lore pressure. You throw that on a cove.
Absolutely.
Now it's a 4/3 with resist 1. That's got to feel pretty
really
good.
No, that's fantastic. Especially because you can Diablo, shift Diablo on 2, play Calhoun, play the Cove on 3, move them in there. That's great. And generally, the Emerald Steel deck doesn't like to challenge. It usually uses its songs for removal. So yeah, Calhoun having that extra challenge, I do like that as a tech piece. Okay, the good news for Dale this time, get to go first. We do have the big Diablo. We don't have Tinkerbell's probably too expensive. Only really one song to use too. Yep, is going to ship back everything but the Diablo. Hope we can find it. And we do find Brawl, Flaversham, and Popsicle on Fam's side. So he is ready to answer this Diablo as long as a Hidden Cove does not come out. And of course, the wonderful Maleficent Dragon turn 1, as I always draw on my red-blue decks. You always know it's Ink turn 1 because it's always the starting
it makes
hand.
it really easy, at least, right? It's how I feel when I see like a big Cindy on turn 1. It's like, well, that was an easy ink this turn. So
yep.
All right.
Dale has yet to reveal his hand, so we're gonna see. He definitely needs a big start. We have John and Sudden Chill. We do have Cove. I don't think we have the small Diablo though. Nope. Still couldn't find it 2 games in, and we never naturally drew into it either. So that card actually is just hiding in the deck. It doesn't get. Oh, I guess you could just play Cove turn 1. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It still means you wouldn't be able to move a Diablo into there till like turn 4.
Your turn 2 gets a little bit messy because you don't. When you have Prince John, I can't imagine you play Ursula when you have that easy way. Like because Ursula almost against red blue, really good chance he pulls something. Nah, I guess not a really. It'll be interesting to see what he does because if he. I'm very.
We know he'll hit a target in the Be Prepared, but yeah, it's. I don't know how safe you'll feel doing that.
Yeah. He's debating. Do I play this Cove or not?
I think there's really no reason not to this, right? Like, assuming you're going to want to move characters in there, you're essentially saving on the ink to play it now. But no, decides actually, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is the Cove won't be threatened by anything for quite a while.
Correct.
But he also, because he has what 1, 2, 3 uninkables in hand, it's very possible he's saving it, thinking, "Hey, I may need this for ink if I keep drawing into uninkables." And there's that turn 1 dragon into the inkwell for a Popsicle, blue-red's favorite opening.
And I'd imagine you're right. I think, all right, I need to keep this Cove for ink because you don't want to really ink your discard stuff when you have a Prince John in hand. And there you see he goes and inks the Hidden Cove. And he just plays the Ursula just to get something on the board. So,
and we do have a How Far I'll Go now. So we actually, that's a pretty good song to hit. Sometimes you don't always want to hit a Be Prepared this early because you know it's going to be a while before they could use it anyway. And so How Far I'll Go does cut off some of the ramp and card draw our opponent has. But sometimes it's also nice to say, nope, it's one less board wipe I get to worry about. Does scout the Brawl too.
Yep.
So now we know it probably won't be Diablo on the next turn. It'll probably be Prince John because otherwise Diablo's just going to get picked off by the Brawl. Do opt to get rid of the How Far I'll Go and takes one last look at the hand just to see what our opponent's in for. And the only reason to play Diablo would be to essentially bait out the Brawl to say, okay, well, I don't want you to Flaversham on your 3rd turn, so I'm going to Diablo to make you Brawl me instead, but I don't know if that's worth it. Hippo comes out. Looks like we put the B prep from our hand face down. So now we are set up for Brawl or Flaversham. And well, now you have a second Diablo.
Which is nice, but I'd imagine he really wanted to see an ink there more than a second Diablo.
I know. Yeah, because now he has to ink the Hypnotize, because otherwise he could have set up Prince John on this turn, next turn, Sing, and the Sudden Chill. You could still Prince John this turn, have Ursula Sing Sudden Chill. That's at least getting you some card swing. Man, that sucks. You have to go up the Hypnotize for it, but he just doesn't really have much choice. He does put the Diablo out.
Yep. He wants to force him to make a choice: Brawl or Flaversham. Which one do you want to do here?
And it has to be Brawl. You can't set up Flaversham here.
And
you can.
Yeah, we can.
Just what I know.
Said we can.
He's not exerted yet. I'm so used to him being shifted in. I was like, no, you're going to give him 2 cards. But yeah, this is totally safe. So now, because next turn he can Brawl him before he uses anything else with Flaversham, so he can. 4 turns too late, small friend.
So here it looks he's debating. I bet he just wants to draw something. Yeah, he wants to draw an Inkable. So he's gonna sing that to get rid of Tipo to hopefully draw an Inkable. And
You can
let's see
either
what he
set up the
does.
Prince John and still do the sudden chill sing with
Hidden
the Ursula,
Cove.
or Cove's not bad.
That's got to feel pretty good because now Diablo's protected, right? And then you could Prince John
Yeah.
next turn.
I don't mind that at all. Yeah,
Mhm.
I was gonna say the other option is you put out the second Diablo and essentially overload his removal. Say, hey, you can't answer both of these. Ooh, but Cove just says you can protect this one outright. That's a nice draw there.
That has to feel really good right now. So, and he decides to go that route because now next turn he can set up the Prince John, do everything that he was looking to do this turn anyways.
So it's 1 for the Cove, 1 to move, 1 for the little Diablo, and I think he has enough ink to move one other person there, right? Because he should be on 4, or is he still on 3?
It looks like 3.
Oh, I guess he didn't ink
Because
this turn. Okay.
yeah, because he drew the baby Diablo and then played that the Storm Rage on and got Cove. So he didn't ink this turn.
And now, even if one of these Diablos gets answered, we'll have one, and we can shift in if the small one survives. Okay,
Another
looking way
uninkable.
better for Dale.
It is.
But yeah, wait, is Muses uninkable? I thought Muses was inkable.
Nope, she's uninkable. So
we're casting both Hideaway and then the Cove.
Yep.
All right, so Hideaway will go into our Inkwell, so our opponent's actually going to help us ramp a bit. And then that Diablo goes away, but we have the Shift Diablo.
man, was that the bottom card of his hand or did he top deck it? I wasn't because
I'm not 100% sure. I think he
yeah.
might have top decked it.
I think he did because I think it was a Visions on the very bottom. And what if he did top deck it? That is just beautiful. Looking at DK's list, he runs 2 hideaways, so it's not unheard of by any means. But that's got to feel really, really good. We see that one go come, which.
So he's got a choice here, right? So if he shifts this Diablo, the only card he has to get rid of is the Sudden Chill, which then he can't use it to profit off the Prince John, but decides that is worth it. So we're going to discard Sudden Chill, shift our Diablo. That gives us time to set up the John or the Muses. We decide to go in on the Prince John. Unfortunately, no discard at this point.
All right.
But now we can start putting on some lore pressure.
Little by little, one at a time.
And now if our opponent does Hiram Popsicle, we're going to get some card draw. Luckily for our opponent, a card like Develop Your Brain and what's the other one? Visions of the Future. That's not technically a card draw. You're just putting it into your hand after you look. So it does not trigger Diablo. Same with Grandma Tala here. So this blue-red just has a lot of ways to circumvent this Diablo trigger.
And that turn was really easy. He developed your brain into 2 visions. So it didn't have to think much about that one. So man, and that's got the lady. So he gets 1 card, or he'll get 2 card draw off the Diablo. So it did its job. It replaced itself.
Looks like we might have a issue.
I think Fam hadn't passed yet.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So there we go. So now we're officially ready. We draw into the dock, which is okay here. It's not amazing. You could try to set up Muses. Not that Muses has much to bounce here other than Flaversham. We also have no songs to sing, so Muses doesn't do a whole lot there. Go-Go isn't doing much for us at the moment either.
I imagine Ink and Dock at this point, because nothing in your hand's doing anything. So
I wonder how good Go-Go actually is in this deck. Like generally, your characters aren't. I guess if you put a lot of damage on through a song, like if you could put 4 or 5 damage on this Flaversham, then it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I mean, because if you can, but like you were saying, you're not generally challenging things. So it really comes down to, do you get to the point where Tinkerbell does come down, or a beast? Imagine your beast is damaged and hits into a Tamatoa for all of that, and then you play a Go-Go. But yeah, I can't imagine Go-Go sees much action. So I don't know if it's ever a card that stays in this deck. because
We do see this. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying, if I think back to the EU, the deck that one of the decks that placed, I don't think they were running any Go-Go's either.
Scouting our opponent's hand, we do see they have a Medusa, which is likely going to come down and take out our Diablo next turn. So it might be worth it to go into dock at this point. We're going to put down the Muses, set that up. We do see there's no Sisu. Grant, our opponent's only on 5 ink anyway. We quest with just the Diablo, as the Ursula is vulnerable to the Grammatala. And we're going to get one final card draw out of this Diablo before it's likely taken out by this Medusa.
Oh my!
Oh, man, we draw the Sisu. We're still far away from it, though. And we do get a Tragic Beast. Okay, so if we burn Medusa on this Diablo, we won't have it for the Beast. But man, our opponent has way more cards in our hand than we would prefer.
100%. Luckily, no ice blocks in Fam's deck, though, so that Beast stays pretty happy because there's only one other Medusa in Fam's deck. So the Beast is bound to do a lot of work for you. You know, one of the nice things about that Muses coming down, still no song, which is unfortunate.
Still no songs. Yeah, we have Muses, we have John. Like, our board is ready. We want the songs, but they're just not coming. So I would assume here you're either you go right in on the Beast and just hope, or you ink it and then play dock and then try to see if you can't get something better. But Beast, at least it forces your opponent to either have another Medusa or you start drawing some cards back.
Yep, and inks the morph, and then now I can't imagine what he might draw where you just don't play dock next turn, hoping to see some songs, because then you get into this great place of, we see a Hiram double Maui. So, but yeah, we've got to see something to, oh boy.
And any hopes of discarding this hand to get rid of that Sisu is pretty much going out the window at this point.
Now, if he sees a song, at this point, I'd imagine you just play B prep. Oh, and we lost the stream. We'll give them some time to get it back. She was lagging a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think Fam cares about using Be Prepared at this point. He's gotten plenty of value out of all of these cards.
Exactly. So
and Be Prepared basically is the nail in the coffin. Like, I don't know how you come back from that.
Yeah,
not much reason to play a second Flaversham. You Maui, there isn't much reason to play either. I think you just do Visions, right? Yeah, we're gonna do Visions. See if we can kind of set up our next. If you can get your next Flaversham, anything to help you dig deeper after this Be Prepared comes out. Mufasa, Sail, a single Popsicle, which is pretty good. Tamatoa, and looks like a Maleficent Dragon.
And I'd imagine just rock the Popsicle and just keep digging. Just keep,
I like that. Rock the Popsicle.
Oh, yeah. All you're trying to keep a healthy hand, right? Keep that hand up, and then what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, absolutely. They can't make you discard 6 in one turn, right?
Nope. So, looking at pretty good. Then he can just start questing, and he knows he's got B prep whenever. Now, there is a world where, you know, if Dale does see a song, he could always muses his own Ursula and then recast it.
True.
And when there's so many cards in Fam's hand, maybe that does work out, and you think, all right, maybe I'll catch a song with this, and I get to draw off of it because of Prince John, and that'd be pretty good for him.
So we did get a song finally. We got the Bruno. So likely what you do is you have the Beast sing with Bruno. You send back, I don't even know, whoever you think is the best target. The Muses can bounce Flaversham. You'll get a random discard. John will trigger. You could bounce back your own Ursula, like you said, replay. He is high enough now he can drop the Sisu again, but we're getting some lag or something.
Yeah, we are getting some lag, so that's all right. It just builds suspense, right?
You could also hard cast this Bruno. There's nothing that says you have to sing it with Beast. But likely you want to sing it just so you can potentially play whatever you draw off of the John.
Yeah.
So we are going to choose the Flaversham. So yeah, he might be going in on your play to bounce his own Ursula. Of course, he should have quested first if he was going to do that, but
so
we've got
so
1, 2, 3,
cards.
4. Yeah. I need a big old die roll. And he has to roll it so it lands.
It's
4.
the Hiram.
Actually hits the
good.
It's crazy how often Bruno hits the target it sends back. We draw another John, not ideal.
Not what you wanted.
Yeah, we chose not to bounce Muses. I wonder if he because Muses can target anything, right? Or does it have to be opponent's characters?
Oh, there he goes.
So we did.
He was thinking. So because he could have bounced Diablo just to see what's in my opponent's hand and determine his next plays.
But Ursula will do the same thing, plus potentially get a song out, which it will get a song out. Slight misplay not having that Ursula quest first, but hopefully that won't end up mattering too much. The downside is you can still have a Sisu come down and wipe out everything but the beast. And then you can even trade the beast out with either the Maui or what do you have on board? He commits the... I don't know about that. Committing the John first? Wouldn't you want to scout the hand first?
Well, committing the John lets you draw 2 if there is a song. So, and then in this case, he gets rewarded.
You see there's a Sisu there.
Yep.
Oh, that's true. You get the double. Okay, I guess so. He's taking the risk.
Mm-hmm.
So you will. You're right. The benefit is you'll get the double draw. The bad news is now you see your opponent has Sisu.
And that's got to feel really bad because at this point that means all that's gonna you're left with you get to draw 2 here, which is great, and then you get to draw off the beast in this next turn, which also feels never mind. Don't listen to what I said because beast is on. So never mind. Don't listen to me.
It's okay.
It's
well,
been
like
a long day.
it's part of when you can see the cards in hand, right?
Yes.
I know. Oh no, the second John is scary because I know he has Sisu.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Dale is like, well, let's take the risk, see if I get it, and if he doesn't have the Sisu, I get the double draw off of it.
So we see the hypnotize and the Ursula come into the hand.
I mean, do you just quest out at this point too, knowing they're gonna die anyway?
Man,
you would get 1, 2, 3, 4 lore off of it. You'd go to 8. I mean, if they're gonna die anyway, to the
just quest.
They're not long for this world, so you are gonna have an empty board next turn.
And I apologize. Muses is 100% inkable. What a long day for me.
It's okay. It's a lot of cards to remember.
That's okay.
So we quest out. We'll go to 8. I assume we used all our ink. Let's see. We did 3 for the John, 2 for the Ursula. I think the most you could do is a second Ursula or a Doc, but you already know it's in hand. You know there's no reason to play a second Ursula. Or maybe he's just trying to decide if he wants to ink again, period. Morph. Okay. Pass to our opponent. We give a salute to our characters while we draw B prep anyway, just in case we want to save the Sisu, although I don't think there's much reason to save her. So you could either bring in Maui to take out Beast. Well, you can't Maui and Sisu. I guess that's the...
Mm-hmm.
So if you Sisu, that's everything in your hand.
And that is so... Oh, because he's wondering, do I just trade? Because if he trades into Beast, it does the same thing that a B prep would have done. It clears his board. If he plays the Sisu, it clears the majority of Dale's board, but leaves the Beast to draw. Well, it wouldn't draw because he can still hit into it with the Grandma Tala.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to finish it off, right?
Yeah,
he can just hit it with Tala.
Yep.
Okay, it hits for 7. What do you care? It doesn't draw a card. That's the important part.
Exactly.
He could just quest 2, play B prep. Now you both start over. Like I said, the Sisu obviously leaves you with a huge body, so I'm assuming we'll go on the Sisu line. Yep. Grandma Tala. There's a Sisu. Say goodbye to Exodia. Yugi is 5 cards just get banished off the board.
And then does he take?
Looks like he challenged with Medusa and he's gonna quest with Grandma Tala.
Yep. So just reduce the draw so he doesn't get it, and then like you said, I don't care if you can attack for 7. What are you gonna hit?
Yeah, go ahead. Trade with my Medusa. We do get another John, and we do have enough to John and Hypnotize. Let's see. If we John, Hypnotize, and have an Inkable, we could even play the Ursula. So actually, you could John Ursula, but you'd have to guess that he drew a song, right? Because last time you saw his hand, there was a song. There wasn't a song in there. So John first. Hypnotize is the safe play. We
Yep.
know Ursula would reward him big, but you're probably thinking, well, what are the odds he drew a song? Then thinking about it. Yep, goes for the Hypnotize. We get rid of
3,
Maui.
4, 5, 6.
Draw for Prince John.
And what is it? What is it? Is that the...
Oh, it's Diablo.
Okay, and a Pete. So he does get the Inkable he needs.
I mean, Pete's kind of like a discard. I don't think you can play it this turn. You've only got potentially 2 ink to work with. We are going to ink the Pete.
Goes the Ursula.
Play the Ursula.
Boy.
Man.
Oh, boy.
We are going to get rewarded for this.
this.
If we can draw into a discard to get this Flaversham out of hand, like a sudden chill here would be perfect. Or no, we get a single draw. Oh, it's a Ursula. If we could have taken the Flaversham out of our opponent's hand, we actually have a chance here.
We were in a good place.
But Flaversham is going to reload.
Let's see. So that is two B preps from Fam now, I believe, in the discard. 1 Sizu is on the board, so he's still got 1 Sizu and 2 B preps in the deck. Flaversham's about to start reloading, which is going to be feeling really good.
I think you just pass here, right? There's nothing. I mean, you could quest with the beast, but
is there a reason to?
Yeah, I don't think so. There's no reason to take out the Medusa. The beast is still potentially a big singer in case you draw into a Bruno.
Yep. Exactly.
I think you're okay if he wants to burn another Medusa on a beast that's already not drawing you cards. We are getting a lore check from the judges. Just wanted to check that he was at 9. Thanks, by the way, for anyone watching at home. Let us know if there are any audio or visual issues as our opponent passes. And we get, nice, Flaversham.
And a how far?
And
more digging.
How far I'll go and a popsicle. Wow. How far will go? Such a great song to sing with Grandma Tala. That card is done as its duty by entering, and we get another Sisu. Oh man.
Oh
well,
jeez. Oh jeez.
Prince John and Ursula might be due for the discard pile. Yeah, as Sisu comes down again.
Oh man. And luckily,
chat's... now we just quest out.
Yep. And feeling pretty good. Chat's had no issues with chat or volume, of course, which feels good.
Oh, good.
Just my lack of any kind of Lorcana knowledge today. So it's been a good time.
And green Emerald Steel is quickly running out of gas here. It might be to the point you even have to go in on that dock, but I don't even know what you're looking for here, right? Most of the stuff you need are songs, which means you need singers to sing those songs. You know your opponent still has that Flaversham in hand, so they're not going to be lacking for card draw. You could jam out Diablo Ursula and hope. Say, all right, well, let's see what happens. And you might need to challenge this Sisu with the Beast, because otherwise your opponent can quest for 8 lore next turn.
Yeah, and go to 6. Like that's at this point, it's a, I don't know what green steel. You play the Ursula and hope to draw into let the Storm Rage on. You could draw 2, take on a Sizu, slows things down. So
okay, you manifest a Rapunzel from somewhere. Heal up your beast.
I think he would have liked to manifested a lot more cards earlier on than Rapunzel at this point. Yeah, because this is such a Fam's in such a great place right now. I think you just have to jam the Ursula, you jam the Diablo. Yep, exactly. So
Diablo Ursula Doc, DUD, a dud. That's what our hand is. You've gotten rid of 2B preparers, and you've seen both Sisu, so technically you're quote unquote safe from the next board wipe, right?
Yes, you are right. You're feeling that at least. You're feeling optimistic there, but
yeah, surely going wide this time will work. Granted, that not that this Ursula's going to do much, but you could see it as maybe a magnet. Hey, you got to get this, or I'm going to sing a song on you, even though I probably don't have a song.
And he just It looks like he's just going to play the dock, get rid of the Ursula.
Yeah, that works too. You know, this Ursula's isn't going to do anything for you, and then
Mhm.
hopefully, depending on what you can draw ink-wise. I mean, if you could draw into something like a Bruno, you could get rid of a Sisu, you could potentially get that Flaversham out of hand.
He's thinking of so much. He's looked through his discard
I
a couple
know.
times. He's, man, oh
He's
man.
probably checking his song count. Okay, what could I
Mhm.
realistically draw into here that would make this Ursula actually worth playing? Emerald Steel is such a like high roll deck where like
Mhm.
when it goes off, oh my, it just feels unbeatable. Like you can't do anything. But then when it has a slower start like this,
Yep.
it's like, well, we'll see what happens. So Doc will discard our hand, which is nothing, and then we'll go ahead and draw 2 cards.
And they are
Good.
a Pete and a Muses.
And a
Oh,
Muses.
jeez. You know, and that's what made
Not amazing.
that's what made the Bucky era so. That's what made it so strong then, is because the high roll was so much simpler to get.
Yeah. And you could discard earlier. Like now you have to wait
Exactly.
till usually turn 3 to set up Prince John before you really want to start discarding, or even turn 4 if you put the Ursula out on 3, whereas the Bucky was hitting you as soon as turn 2.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And I'm assuming we are going to
Take out the
challenge this
Sisu.
Sisu.
You just have to at this point. Like you can't
Yeah.
let them quest for
It's
another
3,
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of lore. Yeah, because you're gonna be challenging them now. They're
Mhm.
supposed to be answering you in lore and end up brawl off the top. Oh my goodness.
just
Well-
just everything. Oh jeez.
I was hoping for a game 2 in the back of my mind, but I think that's good. As we see the double brawl again,
Oh,
dude,
and
Flaversham.
Fam's just laughing. Fam feels so bad.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness.
Just in case you had that little smidgen of hope you had, yeah,
Mhm.
we'll go ahead and take that away from you.
Poor Dale. So for those of you watching, Dale literally got home from work and immediately got out of his car, turned his computer on, pulled the deck out. So this is what he was rewarded with, was
Yes.
so many brawls.
Thank you for coming home and jumping on right away. Please take your beat down.
Yeah. And this is exciting
this-
for DK because now he has the opportunity. If, like I said at the beginning, if Frank loses, DK's in that bubble area to be able to
Mhm.
get into top 4. So it's, it's like I said, an interesting situation. Part of you is like, well, if Frank does lose, I'll be happy to get that amazing mat. But I also don't want to see EU lose in Swiss,
Well, and yeah, like I'm no fan of green steel, but I also do enjoy a good back and forth match.
Mhm.
The beatdowns are never very fun, so I mean, I can't even conceive of a line that gets us out of
Yeah.
this.
His next turn, so what, they're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They're 19 on board. So Lucky Dime is the only thing that ends it next turn. But, oh, there we go. Hey, he got rid of
Hey,
1 card.
you can bounce the Flaversham, force your opponent to play that again, or do you
Well,
bounce
you
your own
bounce your
dock?
dock. Yep, you look for
Yeah.
something. You search for all the ounce you possibly can. Because this is the Cinderella story. This is the comeback story right here,
Oh,
right now.
I'll call it a comeback. Are we gonna see it?
There has to be. Oh, what is it? What is it? Show
Like,
us.
I mean, you finally got your opponent at no cards in hand, right? That's what you
Yeah.
always wanted.
Oh, we can't see him. I think.
Is that morph?
I think it's a morph. I think the one is a morph, but I have absolutely no idea what the other one is.
It's probably Diablo or Bruno, right? Because they're both shiny enchanted, so I would assume it's one of those two. Top deck of how far I'll go, pretty good, as you'll get to see the next 2 and pick which one you like the best. You can even just cast it outright if you wanted to, but it says,
Mhm.
nah, my grandmother's a fine singer.
Plays the
Decides to get
pop,
rid of
draws-
Medusa for the popsicle.
Draws 1 off that, 2 off of Flaversham. And then develop your brain to do some even more digging just for funsies. And another B prep just for good measure, just in
Just in
case.
case.
Just in case.
On the offhand chance we fall asleep and wake up when they're on 19 lower, we've got the second Be Prepared ready.
I mean,
I think you just quest out, right? Like,
yeah.
you don't really need to
Yeah.
commit anything. You could put those Vitalospheres down if you want, but
just for funsies, like why not, right? He's just gonna. Oh, he almost put both down just because, but I think he's like, you know what, just in case something absolutely crazy happens.
We're told there is a lore discrepancy that Dale is actually at one lore higher than he should be. So we're showing 11. So I believe, according to the judge, it should actually be with 10. Not that I think that's going to end up mattering, but just to keep it official. Or someone's saying he should be at 9. There we go. Okay, we got it fixed.
There we go. So he's actually lower. So things got even worse for Dale.
Oof.
Oh, that doesn't
Just
feel
as
good.
an extra kick in the gut. By the way, you're actually even further behind than you thought you were.
I don't know. I don't know what on earth could be drawn at this point.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
the old lap be prepared, the one no one saw, you had up your sleeve, and you just slide it out there.
No one will question it if you play a Ruby card.
No. Just forget what the rules are about ink colors, and it's golden.
And it looks like he's picking up. Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'll find.
No,
he's just psyching us out.
Yeah, he's just spreading out the fact that he has 10 ink, which is pretty impressive. When Red Blue only has 11, so.
I'll give it to Dale. He has tried his darndest to stay in this for as long as he possibly could, as it's just slowly slipping and slipping and slipping away.
This is the ultimate looking for all of your ounce possible. So
yeah, and he had a few turns there where it looked like he'd start to crawl back in, but man, both of those Sisu were so timely for Fam. In that early hideaway brawl turn too, like if that Diablo could have stuck around for a bit, then you're thinking, well, it's at the cove, right? It's probably safe, and that hideaway just flipped the script on that one.
And I don't know what that third card is that he drew. I can't. I
think it's Sudden Chill on the far right. So you could use Sudden Chill, make him discard 1. Again, the only thing you can bounce is the Flaversham. You have to kill this Sisu, which I don't think you have the power on board to do it, right? Because this is only Doc a 1. He's a 1/3.
He's a 1, yep. So look at you. Did you say Sudden Chill? Was that your prediction?
Yeah, it was.
Nice. Because now you can play Doc again. So
that's true. Yeah, maybe that's so we discard a Maui. Presumably we're going to bounce our own Doc. Bouncing Flaversham is meaningless at this point, as this Sisu has to go.
Let's see. Oh.
I mean, surely there's no reason to. I guess if you know you could get rid of the Sisu, then maybe there's a reason to bounce the Flaversham, as it does just take 1 more lore off the board. But at least, assuming his hand is Diablo and Morph, and we can't 100% tell because he's got him so low. But if that's his hand, I don't see how he has to essentially bounce his own Doc.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Because he has to search for ounce. But you got to love Muses and what it can do. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier. Oh, okay. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier that Muses can bounce Go-Go. So now, which I didn't even think about. So you could play this Go-Go. Oh, it was a Tinkerbell. We were way off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we couldn't tell.
Yeah. But that ability to be able to bounce your Go-Go to maybe get all of this crazy.
So it was double Tinkerbell.
Wow.
So we shifted onto our own Tinkerbell, and now we're gonna run the Muses into the Sisu. Well,
okay, that does it.
Is one way to get it.
Wow. Okay. All right. Still in it. Still not out of it. Wow. There we go.
Opponent's gonna go to 18. We just gotta B prep. Yep. Clean the board up.
Be like, good luck.
And we still have enough to play Flaversham. Get
a brawl for good measure.
Just in case. Just in case. I couldn't help but notice in Flask there was a little bit of hope left. Let's just go ahead and we'll take that away.
Dale showing off that he has no cards in hand. Oh, there's the Pete.
No brawl for you this turn. No brawl, sir. And Flaversham's just going to quest on his own by being a 6-body.
There's that dreaded hideaway going to the bottom of your deck.
Nothing like the feeling of chasing red-blue when that deck's supposed to be chasing you.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And our
there's the
final draw,
Diablo.
just as a taunt for not showing up at the start of both games, Diablo comes
The
down
last
to
card
remind
you
our
got.
opponent and Lucky Dime
The
just
Lucky
to,
Dime, the Tipo. What a guy.
just to flex. All right. Well, congratulations to Fam as he takes a pretty clean 2-0 victory. Dale unfortunately never had a few moments, a few glimpses, but at no point was he ever like, wow, all right, he's firmly in control now. That was rough.
That was rough. But now we'll jump in. We'll jump into the Discord. We'll do an interview, and we'll kind of see what these guys have to say.
What's up?
Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Man,
this
oh
is
man.
not-
Do we got? Let's see. We got Fam here, so we're still waiting on Dale. But boy, what a game.
Are we live already?
What's up?
Are we live already?
Yeah, I'm live. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we're looking good. So
Yeah. This time I found my Hiram, by the way.
yeah,
We saw,
you,
yeah.
you found everything.
The Hirams,
that
the
was so
brawls.
disgusting.
Yeah, that first game you
Oh,
got the double brawl off the Hiram was like, holy moly.
That was impressive.
And then so a second game I should have played around the cove. I knew he had a cove because he fought so long. But I was like, he inked one, maybe he doesn't have it, and I was so greedy on the Hiram draws. I should have went for the brawl instead of the Hiram on turn 3 on his lone Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well, didn't matter in the end.
Yeah,
I drew
you,
the hideaway.
yeah, you top
Yeah,
decked that
the hideaway was-
hideaway, and that was great.
That was
So
great.
Yeah, before that we thought, okay, he actually has a chance here. He's got this Diablo, it's safe at this cove, and then man,
Yeah.
that turn was just like, nope, actually you're not. I'll take that control, thank you.
So it's pretty exciting, DK or DKP. Fam, what do you prefer, by the way?
Like my calling name is Kang. You can call me DK, DKP.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Whatever you prefer. DKP. Most people know me through DKP, I guess. So you can.
All right.
Too.
Well,
if you see me at events, you can call me Kang.
Okay, I'll keep that in
Some
mind.
people
If
call
I
me
ever
Ding,
run
and
into
I don't
you,
listen to Ding.
first I have to make it to the events, right? But you know, this
Welcome,
is
Dale.
Welcome, Dale. Welcome. Glad you could be here, man. This is interesting though, DKP, because now you're in this interesting place because if Frank loses his next match, you're actually in line to bubble for top 4. So it's a kind of an interesting thing because on one hand it'd be cool to make top 4, but on the other hand you kind of need your team to lose. But it was a pretty, I don't know if you knew that, but now you're kind of in the running for top 4. So
I actually like so my main motivation for this game now is like the NA Continentals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I messed up the U one, so I have to perform now at the NA one. So like, if Frank wants to take the seat, then I even want to give him the seat because he has something to play for, you know.
Yeah.
And I already have my tournament, so I don't need it.
Oh, what a good
even
guy.
Better. That's even better.
Yeah, share the wealth, right? So what a good guy. Dale, how you feeling, man?
Yeah,
Dallas
that's
Fort Worth flashback.
yeah. No, I made a call in game 1 where honestly, I was at work. I have such a busy day, and then I left to play this match. Not an excuse, but I looked at my opening hand game 1, and I kind of forgot that I was on the draw and not the play.
Oh.
So that's why I kept that hand, and then we start, and I'm like, oh, I'm on the draw.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, I knew you had when you joined, I'd mentioned that. I was like, yeah, Dale, he dedicated. He jumped out of the car, just left work, jumped out of the car, immediately ran upstairs, grabbed a deck, and is with us now. So, and we kind of saw what happened there. Same thing happened, you know, I just left work a little while ago, and it's kind of funny what happens when you don't give yourself that time to transition from one thing to another. Because I'm not a green steel player by any means, but man, thank God I had Rude Roast here because he was keeping me in check.
I was doing my best. Dale, so I want to commend you in that second match that despite it slipping away little by little by little, you really made pretty much every effort you could, bouncing your dock multiple times, bouncing the Ursula to rip out the Be Prepared, the double shift Tinkerbell. Like you tried. You really gave it your all to try to just hold in there.
Yeah, that was destiny to lose this game. So
It was.
So-
I don't. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good. I was just going to ask about this matchup in general when you have to take on Ruby Sapphire. How important do you think it is to kind of see the nuts opening with the Shift Diablo, which we never really got to see in either of these games? Or do you think just maybe with some better cards you can answer this deck better? Or kind of what are your thoughts on this matchup in general?
yeah, if I open Diablo Cove, it makes it a little bit easier. But Din and I have played a lot, and it usually requires multiple coves. I mean, multiple Diablos in this matchup. But part of it is like you could see I was holding almost all my discard and not firing early, just trying to get a 1 turn, shoot everything out of his hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's part of the reason I was just like sitting on chills the whole time in game one.
Mhm.
And there was an opportunity in game one where I could have gone on when he had a Mally, just chill, and play more. And it's just Mally versus I think Ursula in hand.
Yeah.
And the only reason I didn't do that is I felt like I was so far behind, and I was playing into the outs where I needed to get more gas through Prince John because his deck better. So it was really just waiting for Prince John,
Yeah.
and I got punished on that.
Sounds like the title of your autobiography, Waiting for Prince John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes both ways because I also expected you to discard my Hiram, like both cards.
Yeah.
But if you went discard there, you will be out of gas too. And then we
Mhm.
both were top decking, and my top decks are always better. So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was like putting you on have
Yeah.
Prince John and discard now, or you empty your hand. So you took a gamble.
Yeah.
I guess.
That was essentially it. It was trying to get in Prince John.
We're losing you, Dale. Just letting you know. Losing your audio.
Yeah, you got kind of robotic there, and then the sound cut
Yeah,
out.
we kind of lost him.
Yeah,
Oh, I
right.
don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear
No,
you.
we can hear you.
Hold on. Sorry.
You're good. Driving back to work.
Can you guys? Yeah, I'm back in the car. So
Okay. No, you're good, man.
Could
We can hear you.
you-
So
okay. Let me just.
so for you, DKP, because you got NA Continentals coming up. You've been to NA a couple times. How many NA DLCs did you make top day 2 of? Or how
2
many
out
times
of
did you
3.
qualify for Continentals in NA?
2 times.
2 times?
Sorry. One second.
Yeah.
So you've been over here a couple times. I'm sure you're pretty excited. I'm sure you would have wished you didn't have to, but we're all rooting for you to see how you do. The
I
guy
messed up
that
in Europe. I messed up.
Hey.
I messed up my winning.
hey, it happens, right? That was just
No.
your warm up, all
Yeah.
right. That was just to build suspense. We all get it. So, but you learned some things. Ready to rock and roll. We don't want to put you to share anything, but we're definitely excited to see what you do and see how you represent. But I'm sure lots of challenging testing coming forward so you can go and rock and roll and make your way to Disney World. But
Yeah.
for you, Dale,
The meta even shifted.
yeah, it did, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure you're going to be paying a lot of attention to the CCS 8K, kind of see what happens with NA meta there.
So like for you viewers, the biggest difference and also biggest problem and also biggest opportunity was that the French players were working together, which means like you know most of the French list by watching the LCQ. That was quite insane, and we don't have that in NA. Like there's no big huge chunk of the continental players testing together, sharing everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like watching the LCQ in NA, I will assume I won't get anything out of it besides the people who actually top. But here, for example, I actually know I had 4 mirror matches in UU. That was crazy. I'm like, damn. They kept coming and they almost played the same list, everybody. And so I knew what I had to prepare for myself for. And one time it backfired even because I play around stuff
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't have it. Yeah, but we don't have that in NA. Like in NA, it's quite wild because we have also many prominent players who are one tricking, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
um, playing certain decks, and so it's quite interesting if they are gonna switch or not. Let's say Sailor, Candle,
Yeah.
RMB,
Mm-hmm.
what they are going to bring, Zan, like they might be able to tweak their main deck into the meta, or they might just go with the flow, play something purple, Amethyst,
I
whatever.
heard it's a pretty good
But
deck, so.
yeah, it's a good core, right? It's like it always was like a fair and good core, but now they got Genie,
Mm-hmm.
which puts a bit over the top. Not always, but sometimes. And yeah, it's quite interesting now.
Bam, you don't DKP, you don't have to give away any secret tech if you don't want to, but Maui Shark, that's a card we've seen pop up in a lot of these, red blue
Yeah.
lists, some not. How do you feel about that card? Like it, dislike it, neutral?
I like it in the meta. So I like it as a tool, basically, where you have to, where you basically put a Tamator but earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and your opponent actually cannot do a quest into it when they are not at a high lore count. Let's say they're at 8 lore, 7 lore because you stopped them earlier or whatnot. Um, so it's a tool that just stops your opponent from questing out because if they start questing, even getting something back like develop your brain is
Yeah.
kind of insane because you just like gain 1 lore, look at the top 2 decks cards of the deck, or like how far goes even worse, or like even vision, and then you dig deep into your deck, find the broad or whatnot. Um, it's a great tool to slow down the game, which the deck desperately needed. You don't have to play him. Like I also saw people playing zero, saw people playing two, and they even said they don't like it. I can see both ways. I revolved my deck basically around him in this tournament. I basically played a bunch of actions to trigger him. It has its downsides because if you don't see the shark, your deck is quite bad, I would say. It's
Yeah.
super consistent, but you're missing like some key cards because I kicked a lot of key cards to fit the shark in. And that can backfire too, like if you don't find the shark, or if you find the sharks with no action, it's also kind of quite bad because then you're on top deck mode basically. And
Yeah.
if your opponent decides to just swarm the board instead of questing, and then swarm, and you are forced to be prep yourself, but then again, if they have like a board with like